Hello, and welcome to our International Children's Day celebration, where we celebrate a variety of cultures. International Children's Day marks our hope to enhance harmony, peace, and friendship among different cultures in Canada. I'm here to represent Romania, and so my parents are both Romanian, and they moved to Canada in 1993, and I was born in Canada. My grandparents, uncles, and aunts still live in Romania, but we visit them occasionally by going back home to Romania and staying there for about a month. Romania is an Eastern European country, and it shares borders with Bulgaria, Ukraine, Hungary, and Serbia. And a little bit about the language is that Romanian is a love language or a romance language, similar to Italian, French, and Spanish. And so it's kind of easy to learn different languages. If you are Romanian, it's easier to learn Italian or Spanish or French. And so this is kind of the traditional costume that you would wear typically if you were doing Romanian festivals or like traditional Romanian events. And these are just some figurines that you would see. These are like full traditional costumes. And so for today, I'm going to be making a dessert called Salam de biscuiti, which technically means salami chocolate biscuits. And so it's a very simple dessert to make, but it's traditional to Romanian culture, and a lot of kids in Romania, including myself when I was younger, I really enjoyed this treat, and I really enjoyed making it. And so I will make that for you today. So first I'm going to explain the ingredients. So what you'll need are some biscuits, similar to this. What you'll need are some biscuits, something like this, and you'll need a lot of them. I've already crushed up a bunch of them, so you'll need to crush these up, but I'll show you that later on. You'll need cocoa powder, sugar, which is here, butter, a lot of butter, vanilla extract, which is there, vanilla sugar, milk, and then this is optional because I know some people have nut allergies, but walnuts, and finally Turkish delight. So we actually use Turkish delight in this dessert, and it makes it really nice, and a lot of different textures are in this dessert, and it's kind of like similar to a protein bar, but it has a lot of sugar, so it's not the healthiest, but it's really good. So first off, sorry, I'm just looking at the recipe. First off, we'll need to combine the milk and sugar into a pot, and you're going to cook this until the sugar is melted into the milk. So I'm just going to put the milk and then the sugar into this, and I'm going to wait until that heats up and kind of melts. So you can just mix that around and wait until it melts. And you should put this onto medium heat just so it doesn't overheat. So as we're waiting for that to cook, you can start preparing the biscuits. So I've already prepared most of them, and they kind of just look like little squares. And so what you can do, this is the really fun part, you can crush it up like this, and you can just put them into the bowl. Also, add in your Turkish delight. And I got these colorful Turkish delight, and I just cut them in half so that the pieces are a little bit smaller. And then you can add your walnuts. Let me just check onto the sugar. Okay, so I would say that that is about done. So now what we're gonna do in this pot is we are going to add the butter and cook this until it's all melted together. And so if you have like a parent with you, they can definitely help you with the cooking process of this. So just stir that around. It'll melt eventually. It might take a little bit of time, but it'll eventually melt. And I'll show you like kind of the final product of it all. But as you're waiting for that to melt, what you can do back into your bowl now that you have the Turkish delight and the walnuts and the biscuits into here is you can just kind of turn them around. Just kind of incorporate it all together. And if like a bunch of Turkish delight are in one section, you can separate them, or you can just like make them into smaller pieces even. Whatever you choose, it doesn't really matter. Also, if you don't like walnuts into it, that's completely fine. You don't have to add them. Same with the Turkish delight. Both of these are kind of optional ingredients, but I prefer having both of them in because it tastes really good. The flavors go well together, and it makes the dessert a lot better. So let's check on our butter. Okay, so it is getting more melted. Okay. Sorry. So as we're waiting onto that, we're gonna wait until the butter is completely melted, and then we'll take it off the heat. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna add the vanilla extract and the vanilla sugar. And we're also going to, and we're kind of just gonna incorporate that until it's a little bit melted. And then we're going to add the cocoa powder into that mixture. So it kind of creates like a smoother brownie mixture. And then, so as we're waiting onto that, so as we're waiting onto the butter mixture, the amounts of the ingredients is in a PDF file that, or like a Word document that has the recipe into it, but you technically need 300 grams of these biscuits, and you can either use a biscuit brand called Petit Beurre, or you could use those baby biscuits, whichever one works, because it will get a little bit soft with the chocolate mixture into it, but that's technically what's supposed to happen in the dessert. So if the biscuits get a little bit soft, it's okay. You'll also need 200 milliliters of milk, 200 grams of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 packet of vanilla sugar, and you can find this at Starsky or any other of those kind of European based. I think you can also find it at No Frills, but yeah, a Starsky will definitely have it there. You'll also need, you'll need 100 grams of walnuts, as well as about 200 grams of Turkish Delight, which is, I want to say, about a quarter, half of a container of Turkish Delight. It depends on how big it is, obviously. You'll also need 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, unsweetened preferably. I used this brand, and I got this at Starsky as well. And yeah, so our butter is almost completely melted, and so I'm just going to continue to mix it around. And as you're cooking this, you can just wait until you don't see any more of the butter clumps, and you can just keep on mixing it into a figure-8 motion, just so nothing sticks at the bottom, which it shouldn't, but just in case. Okay, so that is done now. I'm just gonna move the cookie dough mixture to the side, and I'm gonna put this over here. So it looks like this now. Just a simple butter and milk mixture. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the vanilla sugar. Okay, so now I'm going to add the vanilla sugar into the mixture. And I'm also going to add the extract, the vanilla extract. And just mix it around. I'm going to use my spatula and just mix it around. Okay, and because it's hot, still the all of the vanilla extract will get a little bit cooked, as well as the vanilla sugar will dissolve into it, and it'll make it nice and sweet. And so now, once we have that, now we pour the cocoa powder into this and mix. And so this might be a little bit clumpy, so I like to incorporate it a bit at a time, just so it doesn't get clumpy. And you'll start to smell the chocolate instantly. It's very good. I think I'm actually going to use a whisk for this. Just put that here. And just incorporate it all in. Sorry, this part might take a little while, but it's okay. It's super fun. And so after this is all incorporated, it should cool down just a little bit by the time you're done incorporating this all together. And just make sure, like, try as best to not have any chocolate clumps into here, but if you do, it's okay. It'll eventually dissolve. Okay, so this is about done. I'm just gonna stir it a little bit more. Okay. And now I'm just gonna clear this station a little bit. So now I'm going to take my bowl here, and what I'm going to do, I'm gonna whisk this a little bit more actually. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add this mixture into the cookie mixture. So just like that. Perfect. So I'm just gonna put this over here. And so now I'm gonna take just a wooden spoon and we're just gonna mix it all around until everything is nicely coated with the chocolate. I'll show you what it looks like in the end, but it should just, all the cookies should eventually form just a thin layer, like have a thin layering of chocolate onto it. And it's okay if you have some extra chocolate on the bottom because that'll kind of condense when you put it into the fridge. And if you ever at one point want to add more biscuits or more Turkish delight or more walnuts, please feel free to, because this is a very, like, it's not a very particular dessert. You won't mess it up if you add more of any type of ingredient. Like if you want to add a little bit more sugar, that's okay too. If you want to add a little bit more biscuits, that's perfectly fine because you'll just have more dessert. So this is just about done. I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so now it should look like this. It kind of looks like a chunky brownie almost. But yeah, it should look like this. And so now I'm going to put it into kind of a mold pan. So I'll just get that. And so what I did with this is I put saran wrap all at the bottom of this so that the dessert won't stick onto the pan. And you can also do like a little circular shape where you would take the saran wrap and you would kind of roll it like sushi, but this is a little bit easier to do, so I'm gonna do this one. And so what you do is you just put this all into here. I'm actually gonna get a spoon. It'll be a little easier. And you just place it all at the bottom of the pan. Once it gets a little lighter, I'll lift it up. And it doesn't matter where the Turkish delight or anything is placed. It should be fine. Okay. This part might take a little while just to put all of the biscuits and all of the mixture into the pan. But make sure that it's a little bit compact while you put it into the pan, just so the actual biscuit can form nicely. And what this does after you put it into the fridge is the chocolate kind of solidifies, like the chocolate mixture kind of solidifies, and all of the biscuits get a little soft, and it all just gets incorporated in there. And yeah, this is a really simple dessert. Really easy to make, but it's really delicious, and it's a classic Romanian dessert that my parents grew up with, I grew up with, their grandparents also grew up with it. So everyone in Romania kind of knows how to make a version of this. So yeah, it's a very, very nice dessert to have during Christmas time or Easter. There's no specific holiday that we usually have this dessert on. It's kind of just whenever you feel like you want it. Okay, so that's about done. You can always lick the rest of the bowl if you want. I usually do that. So I'm just gonna smooth this out like so. And it should look, at the end, it should look something like this. So now it kind of looks like a brownie almost. And so what you're gonna do with this extra pieces of saran wrap, so when you wrap this, the pan, you need to make sure that you have little extra pieces of saran wrap so that you can actually fold it over. And this just helps get that shape into the biscuit so that it can cool in a nice square shape in this case. But you can also, like I said, you can do it in a circle. This is a lot easier to do than in a circle. But usually in like a Romanian store, if you went to it, you would find it in like kind of like a sausage package, and that's why they call it Salam de biscuiti, because you would cut it in slices, and it would be little circular slices like that. And so that's why it's like known as like a salami biscuit. But the Romanian translation is Salam de biscuiti. And so now after you're done, it should look like that. And so now you can put it into the fridge, and it should stay in the fridge for about a day. And or until it's solidified. You can really eat it right now if you want, but it's really nice to just have it cut out like that and have like little almost like cookies type of thing. And so, yep, I'm gonna put this into the fridge. And I'm just gonna find a piece of spot. There we go, perfect. And so, And so that is all I'm going to do today. Thank you so much for watching and for participating if you did. If not, that's okay. You can always make this whenever you want because you have it on video. Hopefully next year this event will happen in person, but as of right now, this is the best that we can do. And I think this is a great opportunity to really just take some time for yourself to relax and just watch all these different cultures. And so, yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you make this dessert. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Bye! So this is the final product after a day of it being in the fridge. It looks like this, and I'm just gonna cut it for you guys quickly. The knife might stick onto the Turkish Delight, but it should be fine. You might not get the cleanest cut, and something to prevent this would probably be to cut the Turkish Delight into smaller pieces. I'm just gonna open this. And then you can place this onto a plate, and it should look something like that. And you can also top this off with whipped cream or some berries, whatever you prefer. But yeah, that's essentially how you make it. Thank you!